Hello students, junior secondary school students, those who are doing computer studies in Zambia. This is Dr. Murimbi. I'm here to present this tutorial on data and information, and later on also I'll talk about the parts of a computer. Okay, thank you. So now to start with, we are going to look at our work in this way, where we are saying, or we are looking at the area which is called the difference between data and the information. The difference between data and the information. So now, I know pupils may be asking to say, what is data? The pupils may be asking also about to say, what is the information? I remember the last time we met in the other tutorials, I had to explain about what this data is. So now, if you look at our diagram which we have here, it says types of data found in a computer. The types of data which is found in a computer, as we discussed last time in our tutorial, we said that we have text, which are letters and numbers. We also have audio or sound, for example, which is music. We have also video, which are moving pictures. We have images or pictures or graphics. So this is the data which is found in the computer. Now we are going to now understand what is the difference between data and the information. So now, we now move again to our work there. We are going to look at our diagrams which are given here. Our diagrams are illustrating a very good example. We have diagram 1, then we have diagram 2, then we have diagram 3. So now, to understand the difference between data and information is that if you look at this picture here, this picture shows us a pile of papers. A pile of papers. If you look at this other picture here, it shows us a monitor, or in short, this is a computer. Then in this case here, we are seeing a paper which has also a logo there. So now I'm going to explain about the pictures which I've just circled here for us to understand the difference between data and the information. So now in this case, what we are saying is that data, what we are saying is that this is text. This is the text, or data, this is what we call audio. What we call audio, or data is what we call what? Video. Okay, as we have discussed earlier on in our tutorials. And also data, it is what we call images. Okay, students, images. So now what we are saying is that in here, we are saying, so discussing on our picture there, it says this picture, the first picture there. So we say the teacher captures the marks learners obtains in an examination. So now, if you look at this picture here, it shows these are papers where pupils were writing their exam or the test or in this examination. So now the teacher collects these results. The teacher wants to find the total number of pupils or the total number of marks the pupil have got in this test or the examination which the teacher gave. So this is where we are saying the teacher captures by getting these papers. For example, if the first paper, it is picked, it is entered in the computer. The second one, it is picked, it is entered in the computer. The third one, it is picked, it is entered in the computer. That is what we call to capture. To capture is where the teacher now is picking up these papers one after another, entering that data into the computer. So now what we are saying is that teacher captures the marks learners obtained in examination. So we are able to see the papers, which is hard copy, where pupils wrote their tests, and the teacher is able to get them and enter the marks into the computer. So now what is being entered there, it is what we call data. Now, here now, in this case, we are going to look at the word processing. So, here, like I said earlier, I said this is a picture which is showing us the monitor or the computer. So, in this case, we are saying the teacher, in this case, we are saying the teacher uses a computer. So, this is a computer the teacher has got. The teacher uses a computer to calculate. The teacher wants to find how many each pupil got in the test which the teacher gave. The teacher uses a computer to calculate learners' total marks. and determine whether each learner passed or failed. So in this case, what we are saying is that when the teacher has got, or let's say gets a computer and start entering this or commanding or to find the totals or to calculate, that is what we call processing. So now in this case, the teacher is using a part of a computer which processes data, which is called the CPU. This one, it is also called a central processing unit or the processor. Now what it is that after this work has been processed, now the teacher knows the results each pupil got. So the teacher is now going to have what we call information. Now information, what we are saying is that learners' reports are produced, indicating whether a learner has passed or failed. So now this is a report form. This is what we call a report form, which some of you people or some of you students, you are aware to say at the end of maybe a test or examination like that, you are given what we call report form. So this is what we call information, because it has been processed. Here it was data because it was not processed. Now when it was entered in the computer, it has been processed and then it is called the information. So that's what the difference between data and information. The difference is that data, this is the work you enter into the computer, the 4 types of data which we discussed. When it is entered into the computer, it is not yet processed. It is called data. Then when it is processed, then it is called the information. In this case, what we are saying is that we need to look at the part which says that, let me do this a bit, okay? We need to look at the part which says data, okay? Thank you. So we move like that. So we look at to say data, okay? That is data. We move like that. Then we have what we call information. So we need to understand this one here, which is information. Data says any processed, okay, and processed work, okay. So we do like that, and processed work. That is what we call data. So allow me to do this, students. Allow me to do this also. So then what we are saying is that for this information, it is what we call after data has been processed. Okay, so what we are saying in this tutorial is that we are saying information, it is what we call processed work. So now what we are saying is that we have data there. Let me just emphasize again on this one, students. We have data here, then we have information here. So data means that so the types of data which is not processed, and it means that it is not yet processed. Now when it is processed, it comes to what we call information, because it is processed. So the difference between data and information is that data is something which has no meaning. That is in short. Okay, let's say this data is work which has no meaning. It is sometimes we say it is useless. Now information, it means that our work has what we call meaning. Meaning, we are able to understand what is on the computer, to say this work is like this, like that. Now that is what we call information. Data means that you may have anything which has no meaning. For example, like if you say maybe let's say 2 plus let's say 3 is equal to we don't know. So this is what we call data, because there's no meaning here. But now if the answer is given to say as 5 there, this is what we call information. Okay, thank you, students. We go on. We look at our work here. What we are saying is that we have discussed about to say the difference between data and the information by understanding our pictures. That is picture 1, where we have the papers of the students. The teacher gave the test and people wrote on this one. So the teacher gets these papers and start entering into the computer. So the work which is being entered into the computer, it is what we call data. Now, when the teacher enters this work into the computer, That is what we call, when it is being when the teacher is calculating, finding the total marks of what the children got. It is what we call processing. Now the results which the teacher writes on the report forms is what we call information. Now to understand this one better, we need to look at a very good example where we look at this teacher who gives this test here. For example, we are going to look at let's say here we have name. Okay, no, serial number. We have serial number there. Okay, then we have let's say, okay, name. We have name there like that. Sorry, we have name. Then we have subjects, for example, like maths. Then we have subjects, for example, like science. Then we have, for example, like let's say English. Okay, so then we do this. We have number 1 here. We have maybe, let's say, Mary. We have Mary number 1 there. Then we go to number 2. We have Gideon. Okay, we have Gideon there. Number 2, Gideon. Gideon like that. Then let's say, oh, Gideon, sorry, the spelling is not okay. Gideon should be like this. Okay, Gideon like that. Thank you. Then we look at number 3. We look at to say, okay, Misa. Misa like that. Then number 4, we are saying these are pupils who wrote the test and teacher is now entering the marks into the computer. So we look at Gershom. So we look at Gershom. Now the marks they have got maybe in mathematics. Let's say this one has got 56% in mathematics. This one has got, let's say, 67% in, let's say, in science. Then this one has got, let's say, 83% in English. Then we go to Gideon. Gideon has got maybe 72% in mathematics. Then he maybe has got, let's say, 53 in science. Maybe has got 92 in English. Then Misa maybe has got, let's say, 81 in mathematics. Then Misa has also got maybe, let's say 45 in science. Then English maybe she has got 78%. Then we go to Gershom. Gershom maybe has got 45% in mathematics. Let's say 76 in science, and then let's say 40% in English. So now what we are saying is that this is what we call entering data into the computer. So the teacher has entered data into the computer there with these names which we have just given there. So here is what we call the data. Now the teacher wants to find the total marks each child got. So the teacher is going to command the computer in this way. For example, like the teacher here enters, let's say sum, to find the total marks of this each child got. So we do this there like that. So what we are saying is that the child there, Mary, gets those marks. So now what we are saying is that to understand this work better, let me just maybe add a table there so that all the students who are watching this tutorial could be able to understand. So now what we are saying is we are saying the marks which have been found here, it is what we call, that is the information. Okay, it is what we call information. Very fast like that. First nursery. Okay, thank you, students. It's what we call information. Then the marks which were entered, which were obtained by, let's say, okay, the marks which are got in the subjects, this is what we call data. Okay, now this information is going to be entered on the report form or be given to the parents or, let's say, the management at the school to see how these pupils have performed. So that's the difference between data and the information. Thank you, children or students. So now we go on to look at our other work. What we are saying is that the other part we are going to look at is to look at the part which says, let me just scroll a bit there. After understanding the difference between data and the information, data, what we are saying is that it is unprocessed work. Then information means that processed work. So what we are saying is that to perform any task, a computer will. So now when you want to perform any task, let's say a person here, let's look at a person. This is the the teacher. This is the teacher. The teacher is sitting on the computer, or let's say is operating the computer like that. Okay, let's say the teacher wants to perform a task on the computer, and this is the, we say that is the a computer. The teacher wants to perform task. Okay, like that. That's nice. Okay, we have the teacher there. So what we are saying is that to perform any task, a computer will receive data from an input device. So now when we say an input device, in this case what we are talking about is that the basic or the most used input devices are what we call the mouse and also the keyboard. So now the teacher, for the teacher to enter the marks into the computer, the teacher should have, or the teacher should be using the parts of the computer which are called mouse and the keyboard. So the computer will receive data from an input device. For example, this input device can be, that is a mouse, and also can be what we call a keyboard. Now, what we are saying is that for a computer to perform a task, it will also process the data using the processor. Now, this processor, students, it is the other name for the word CPU. The other word for the CPU. So now, what we are saying is that the teacher there is entering the marks for the children. For example, 2 plus 3 there, this is data. Okay, so this 2 has been entered using the keyboard. The plus has been entered using the keyboard, which is an input device. 3 also has been entered using the keyboard, which is an input device. Then equals, we are also still using the keyboard. But when pointing and selecting, here we are using the mouse. So this is what we call data. So now this data, when it is processed, then it is going to give us the answer, which is 5, which we call information. Okay, students, this is what we call information. So what we are saying is that to perform any task, a computer will store data. So to store means that this data, or let's say information, it is going to be kept in the computer or outside the computer. So the computer will store data or useful information on a storage device. Okay, so the computer will store data on a storage device for future use. Now, what we are saying is that you can also send data and information to another output device. Also, the computer, to perform any task, a computer will communicate the information. So now, to understand this work better, students, what we are saying is that you need to understand in this way to say, for a computer to perform a task, it is work which you are commanding the computer to do. So a computer, without giving it data, it cannot work. So the user, who is the person I drew, should give the computer work. That work you are giving the computer, it is what we call data. So now when you give it work using the input, or let's say input device. Now in this case what we are saying is that for us to understand the input device, we need to look at let's say something like this. I know learners, you have been looking at something like this. We say for us to understand, okay, we need to understand this input. Okay, so let me just redo it again. I do it again like this. Okay, thank you very much. So let me show you, students, what I'm trying to say. So now listen, we are trying to understand what is the data and information. So now in this case, what we are saying is that this is what we call an input device. Okay, this is, in this case we are saying this is an input device. So we are going to write there like that. So students, this is what we call the input device. Then this part we are seeing here, this is what we call data. Okay, That's what we call data. Now, what we are seeing here as a person, this is what we may call a computer or the CPU. Okay, students, a computer or the CPU. So now what we are saying is that we use the input device to enter data into the computer. So this is data, this is an input device. So now let's just see, we see what is going on. So data has been entered. Okay, so now what we are saying is that data has been entered, and then we are able to understand. So this is data there. Okay, this is the computer or the processor, it is processing. So let's see a bit.
Undigested food is defecated.
Okay, so that is what we call, in this case we are saying this is data which is being processed by the computer. Okay, thank you, students. So that was about the input device. So what we are saying is that let me just get my pen here. Okay, so what we are saying is that to perform any task, a computer will receive data. So if you don't give it data, the computer may not process. So you give data the computer by using the input device, of which we are saying we have the mouse and the keyboard as input devices. I've also showed you how the input is done. So what we are saying is that when you give it data, when you command data into the computer will process the data. That is by using the processor, which is called the CPU. Okay, this processor is called also the CPU. So now what we are saying is that when you give it data, then the computer will process it. Now after processing, that data can be stored. Now what we are saying is that students, you now need to understand that the other word for the word store is to keep. Now how do we keep? We keep data either that is internal. Okay, either internal, now that is internal, or we keep data that is external. We keep data that is external. Now when we say external, it means that outside. The word external means outside. The word internal means that inside. Okay, now let me explain a bit again on this one. What we are saying is that you command or you input data into the computer, then the computer processes it. After processing it, this work is stored. Now to store, students, what we are saying is to keep. Now how does the computer store data for future use? It is either stored into internal or external. Now when we say internal, it means that the work has been stored into the computer on the hard drive. Then when we say internal, is it external? It means that the user will save this work on a CD or maybe on the DVD. That is work which is going to come out of the computer and be used on the other computer. And then we have also external hard drives, and then we have what we call flash disks. Okay, flash disks. All these are what we call external media for saving work. So now in this case, this is how the user may store the work on the computer. The user may store the work on the computer either inside the computer on the hard drive or outside the computer only. Some of the parts I've mentioned here, but I'll be mentioning some more as we go on in our tutorials. So now what we are saying is that after that data has been stored, you command the computer, the computer processes it, and then you store it. That work can be sent, okay, to an output device. So now in this case, what we are saying is that if you look at our work, that one we are discussing here, let me see, we can open it again like this. Okay, an output device can mean something like this. An output device can mean something like this. An output device, okay. So this is what we call an output device. So in this case, students, what we are saying is that this is, let's say, maybe processed data. Okay, so let me just pick up my pen there. like that. This is what we are saying, either process data. I can't pick my pen, sorry. Is it okay? Okay, process data, and this data can be sent, okay, to an output device. To an output device. Now, an output device, what they are saying output means that seeing what we are doing on the computer. If you are able to see what you are doing on the computer, that is what we call output. So, an output device. So now in this case, let's see first where is this data going. Okay.
It absorbs water and some salts from it and passes the remaining waste into the rectum. Here it remains as semi-solid feces.
Okay.
The fecal matter is removed through the anus. This is called egestion.
Thank you very much. So now, students, we can now go back to our work. We now understand what we are saying. It can be sent to, okay, send data and information to an output device. We now understand that one. So now what we are saying is, the other thing is that you need to understand, students, is that users can communicate this information. Okay, so what we are saying is that you can send this information to others. You can send the information to others. That is what we call communication. Okay, so for example, you type a letter and then that letter is saved on the maybe flash disk, on the CD or hard drive, or any media, or maybe let's say on the cloud, meaning they are saving work on the remote server. Okay, so other people can be able to access the work you have typed or you have done on the computer. So what we are saying is that you can communicate this information to others. Thank you, students. So now we now proceed to look at the other parts there. So what we are saying is that we are going to look at data and information again in details. We are still discussing about it. Now in this way, we look at what are some of the things. Some of these things we have discussed them already. So we are going to look at data and information.
12 a.m.
Okay, sorry for that time reminder. Okay, so what we are saying is that data and information. So data is a collection of raw or unprocessed facts. Okay. You need to understand what does the word facts means. So data is a correction. Correction means that things you correct together. Okay, something which is raw. Raw, okay, in our language or in simple terms, something which is not ready. So let me add the word not. Okay, raw means something which is not ready. Okay, not processed. Is it unprocessed? Means that we are saying something is not ready or unprocessed. What we are saying in this case, we may use the word not prepared. Okay, so data is a collection of let's say work which is not prepared or work which is not ready. So let us just finish writing this word here like that, prepared. Okay, that is prepared. Thank you very much. So data is a collection of raw or unprocessed facts that do not have meaning on their own. So what we are saying is that 2 plus 3 is equal to box. This work we are seeing here, it has no meaning on its own, so it is called data. Thank you very much. So now students, I'll repeat again this one here. You are given to say, let's say, me, okay, me toilet, okay, you are looking at, you are typing something on the computer like that. Very nice, or quite interesting. Me toilet, okay, you say, you, okay, you know toilet home. Okay, you know toilet home. Okay, so now what we are saying is that what is data? If you look at this sentence here, it says me toilet. Okay, this is I there, students. Me toilet. Okay, you know toilet home. So now this sentence has no meaning. So this is what we call data. Data is a collection of raw or unprocessed facts that do not have meaning. Okay, Students, are we together on that one? What we are saying is that it is raw, not ready, not prepared, okay, and also it doesn't have meaning, like in that sentence which you looked at, to say me toilet, you know, toilet home. Okay, so now what we are saying is that we have been looking at the types of data that is found in a computer: text, audio, video, images. Thank you very much. So now we look at the other part there which says, okay, we are here. Let me see this work here. Okay, examples of data. Examples of data includes, this is what we have been discussing in the other tutorials we have discussed together. Text is data, numbers. Okay, so in this case what we are saying is that it has been now put broad. Text maybe here should be letters in that case, so it has been put in broad one so that you are able to understand nicely. So then we have what? Images, we have video, and what we call this is audio and video. So we are saying this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Okay, but for text and the numbers has been splitted. Okay, so this is what we call data. So I'll write here like this. That is what we call data. Data. This is the text, numbers, images, audio, and the videos. The one we discussed earlier on there. So this one can put together like that to make one. Thank you very much, students. I hope you have understood that one. So we move on down there. It says information is processed data. So we are saying information is processed data. Information is processed data that conveys meaning and is useful to the user or organization for making decisions or solving problems. So when you are given 2 plus c, let's say 3 is equal to, when you say from here, this is what we call data. Okay, we call this one as data. But now when you have the answer 5 here, this is called information because it has meaning now. It is this okay, let's say the whole work here now, we call this one as information because now there's meaning. That is 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. So now it's no longer data, now it is information because it has meaning. Now when you just end on 2 plus 3 is equal to, there's no 5 here, it means it's data because there's no meaning. But when you, after adding the answer there which is 5, so they all work here, it is what we call information because it has meaning. So now data is processed into information. So what we are saying is that data plus data is equal to information. Okay, let me look at something here like this. Data plus data is equal to information. So in this case what we are saying is that I may pick up my pen like that very fast. Okay, so that is the data, okay, plus data. Okay, data plus data is equal to, we go to this one like that, information. Thank you very much, students. Data plus data is equal to information. Okay, we look at our work here. So now we are done on this one to say the difference between data and information. So data is processed and into information in a systematic way through a sequence of instructions. So as a user, you command the computer so that the computer is able to process the work you are entering into the computer, which is called data, which will become as the information. Thank you, students. So now we are now going to look at, like I mentioned, to say this tutorial is looking at also parts of the computer. When we say parts of the computer, this is very broad. Broad means that it's a very big topic which we need to understand very much. Parts of a computer, many parts of a computer. So this is what we are going to be looking at. So at the moment we can look at something like this. Let me see. Okay,
desktop computer is made up of several basic parts, and in this video we're going to...
So in this case, what it is, students, is that we are looking at a desktop computer and we are looking at parts of the computer. So, for example, like in this case here, what we are saying is this is a part of a computer, this is a part of a computer, this is a part of the computer, this is a part of the computer. So now, these parts which we are able to see outside, they are called external parts of a computer. Okay, external parts of the computer, because we are able to see them outside, so they are called external parts of the computer. Let us see.
Show you what these parts are and what they're used for. The computer case contains the main components of the computer. This is where...
So now, in this case, in the first place I said the parts we are able to see outside are called the external parts of the computer. These which we are seeing inside here, inside the system unit, these are called internal parts of the computer. So students, you need to understand this one nicely so that you are not mistaken. So there is what we call external parts of the computer and internal parts of the computer. So the parts which are inside the system case, all these are parts of the computer. So they are internal parts of the computer.
Okay. The actual processing happens. Today, most cases are tower cases, which means they stand up vertically. Sometimes you may see a horizontal case, which is often called a desktop case. In order to view anything on your computer, you'll need to have a monitor. The monitor connects to the video card inside your computer to display images and text on the screen. Most monitors have LCD or LED displays, which can be made very thin so they don't use much desk space. To save even more space, you can buy an all-in-one computer, which combines the monitor and the computer case into a single unit. To interact with your computer, you'll need a keyboard and mouse. Keyboards come in different shapes and sizes, for example, ergonomic and wireless keyboards. The mouse is used to control the mouse pointer on the screen. It can either be optical, which has an electrical eye on the bottom, or mechanical, which uses a rolling ball to detect movement. Some people prefer to use a trackball or touchpad instead of a mouse. These use less desk space since they don't need to move around when you're using them. So those are the basic parts of a desktop computer. As you can see, each part plays an important role, and you'll become very familiar with these parts as you gain more experience with your computer.
Thank you very much. So those are parts of the computer we have looked at. So now, to understand it more, we are going to go in detail, students, so that you understand it. So we are going to look at many parts of the computer, meaning that we have so many other parts of the computer, but now we are going to look at many parts of the computer, like those we are from seeing in the clip. So now, what we are saying is that although computers come in various sizes, okay, computers come in various sizes, so different. This word means different sizes and shapes. The many parts or components, this word also, I remember in the first tutorial I told you to say the word components means the word parts. The many components or parts remain basically the same. So now, what we are saying is that these parts of the computer are grouped into, that is one, which is the input. Then we have also the parts which are called for processing, which is the processing. Then we have also parts of the computer which are under the category of output. Okay, we have also parts of the computer which are under the category of storage. Then we have also parts of the computer which are under what? Communication. So now, students, remember, we are looking at many parts of the computer. We have so many parts of the computer, but now in your syllabus, we are going to look at many parts of the computer. So what we are saying is that although computers come in various sizes, various sizes and shapes, the main components or parts of the computer basically remain the same. So now, what we are trying to look at here is, we need first to understand what does the word input, what does the word input, processing, or the words input, processing, output, storage, and communication means. Now, we have not added the word device there. Input means that entering data into the computer. Processing means that the computer is now working on the data you have entered into the computer. Output means the user is able to see the data which has been entered into the computer, in either data or information. Storage means that the user stores the data or keeps the data into the computer or outside the computer on the secondary storage media. So now we need to discuss on this one nicely so that we are able to understand the students. Now we go further to look at our parts there. What we are saying is that in this case, many parts of the computer are categorized. Okay, we have what we call input devices, we have what we call output devices, we have what we call communication devices, we have what we call storage devices, we have what we call processing devices. I remember I talked about this in the first tutorial. Now, when we say input devices, there are two words here. There's the word input and the word device. The word device means that this is a machine. 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 Now, input devices, these are machines which are used to enter data into the computer. Output devices, these are machines which are used to see what we are doing on the computer. Communication devices, these are machines which are used to process data on the computer. Storage devices, these are machines which are used to store or keep data on the or information on the computer. Processing devices, these are devices or machines which are used to process data. Let me just control again on communication devices. Communication devices means that these are machines which help the computer or the user to access internet or a network on the computer. Sorry for what I said there. Communication devices, these are devices or machines which help the user to access internet or network on a computer or communicate with other people. So we are supposed to use what we call communication devices. Thank you very much for that. So this is how the main parts of the computer are grouped. There are 5 of them. How many are they? There are 5. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need to understand this one in this way. So what we are going to do is that we need to look at our parts of the computer in terms of like this one. Okay, so what we are saying is that this is a computer, is it, or this is a keyboard. The keyboard is an input device. Okay, thank you children. We move on. We look at this is a mouse. Okay, this is a mouse. We may reduce the font a bit so that people are able to see. A mouse is an input device. Thank you very much. We go ahead. We look at this is a microphone. A microphone is an input device. Let me start again here so that I can explain properly. Okay, this is a keyboard. The keyboard is an input device. It is used to enter text and letters into the computer and other commands. Thank you very much. This is a mouse. A mouse is an input device. It is used for selecting and pointing on the computer. Then this is a microphone. A microphone is an input device. It is used for entering audio into the computer. Then this is a scanner. A scanner is used to convert hard copy into electronic files. Remember we discussed about this one. Then this is a camera. A digital camera is an input device because we use it for entering photos or images into the computer. Then this is a touch or a digital pen or stylus. It is called an input device. It works like a mouse. It is used for pointing and commanding. Then we look at this is also a touch screen. A touch screen is an input device. It is used for making commands on our device. So this is a touchpad. A touchpad is an input device because it is used for selecting and making commands on the computer. And this is an input device. An input device which is called the gaming controller. It is used for controlling games when you are playing games on the computer. This is also an input device. It is called a fingerprint reader. It reads fingers of people and enter them into the computer. Thank you very much. We go ahead. This is a modem. A modem is a communication device because it helps us to access internet or network on the computer. This is a modem. A modem is a communication device because it helps us to access internet or communicate with other people on the computer. Then this is a network card or network adapter. It is a communication device. It helps us to communicate with other people on the computer in terms of accessing internet or network. This is a router or router. It is a communication device. It helps us to access internet and network on the computer to communicate to other people. This is the central processing unit, which is called a processing device. It is called a processing device. It is called a processing device. It is used for processing data on the computer. It is used for processing data on the computer. This is another type of or it's just the same, the name is just the same, but they are of different types. The central processing unit, it is a processing device. It is a processing device. It is used for processing data on the computer. This is a monitor or a display screen. It is an output device. It is an output device. It helps us to see what we are doing on the computer. A monitor is an output device because it helps us to see what we are doing on the computer. This is a printer. A printer is an output device. A printer is an output device. It is used for printing out hard copy so that we are able to see what we have typed. Then these are speakers. These are speakers. These are output devices. These are output devices. They help us to hear sound on the computer. They help us to hear sound on the computer. This is a data projector. This is a data projector. It is an output device. It helps us to see what we are doing on the computer. For example, maybe the teacher is teaching a class, a big class, and then is required or she is required to use a projector so that the large number of pupils or let's say students are able to see the work. It is called an output device. It is called an output device. Then these are headsets. Headsets are output devices because we are able to hear the sound from the computer. Then we are going to look at the hard drive. We are going to look at the hard drive. The hard drive is a storage device. The hard drive is called the storage device because it helps us to store work on the computer. It is a storage device. Then we look at the CD. Okay, this is a CD. A CD is a storage device. We store work on our CD. It is a storage device. Then we have a Blu-ray DVD disc. It is also a storage device. It is also a storage device. Then this is also a DVD. This is also a DVD. It helps us to save work on the computer. Then these also are what we call the flash memory cards, where we save our work. For example, like this one, it is used in the camera. This one also in the camera. This one also in the camera. This one also in the camera. This is for the phone and for the phone. So it helps us to save work on the computer. So to save work from the computer, and then if we want to share it with other people, we are able to share nicely like that without problems. Okay, thank you very much. So now what we are saying is that we need to go to our work now. So we have looked at input, processing, output, storage, and communication devices. So students, you need to understand what are these or how are they grouped there. So now to understand this one better, we are going to look at our work in this way very nicely like this. So what we are saying is that a basic computer consists of the following hardware components. That is the input, which I've just discussed with you, then processing and also output, then storage and the communication components. So what we are saying is that input devices, these are devices which are used to enter data into the computer. Processing devices, these are devices which are used, or it's a CPU which is used to process data which you have entered into the computer. An output device is what we use for us to see what we are doing on the computer. Then storage devices, these are devices which help us to keep work which we have worked on the computer or to store. Communication components or devices, these are components which help us to access network or internet on the computer and share with other people. So now we are going to be discussing them in one after another. We have got input, output, storage, and communication devices that can be connected to a computer. Okay, so what we are saying is that input, output, storage, and communication devices that can be connected to a computer are called peripherals. Now, students, what we are saying is that we need to understand what does the word peripherals mean. Okay, in this case, what we are saying is that so any device which is an input, any device which is an output, any device which is a storage device, any device which is a communication device, they have a name which we say peripherals. Peripherals are components of the computer which are connected to the computer. A peripheral is any part of the computer which is connected to the computer. It is called a peripheral. Thank you very much. You now understand what is a peripheral there, students. So now we move on, students. We look at the other part which says we are going to look at the information processing cycle. So now, in this case, what we are saying is that you need to understand better on this part, which says, so we have input there, entering data into the computer. So when you enter data into the computer, that data is going to be processed by the CPU. Okay, it is going to be processed by the CPU. Then, how do we process? Sometimes we may use communication devices, that is to access network or let's say internet, and also this processed data or information can be stored on the hard drive and other media as we have discussed in our tutorial. Please, student, you pause this video and then you write those names which I was mentioning. Then what we are saying is that when input means that you enter data into the computer which is processed. When it is processed, we can be able to see what we are doing. Okay, this is what we call the information processing cycle. So we need to understand as students to say input means that the data is it entering data into the computer. When we enter data into the computer, it is processed. So what we are saying is that if we look at this, okay, let me write mine here so that some may understand it nicely. So what we are saying is that we go like this. We are saying this data is processed. Okay, it is processed. That is the word processed. Okay, then this processed, what we are saying is that it can be communicated. Okay, it can be communicated, and also what we are saying is that this communication, we can receive data from communication and which we can also process on our computers. Then what we are saying is that we have what we call here output. We are able to see what we are doing on the computer. And also what is I'm showing here with this arrow to say we are able to see what we are doing on the computer. So then what we are saying is that output can also now come back to what we call input. So this type of a diagram, learners, it is what we call the information processing cycle, where we are saying input means that you enter data into the computer. When data is entered into the computer, it is processed by the CPU, and then this way can be, or this information can be communicated to other people, or it can be stored on the computer or outside media. Okay, so storage medias, and this way also we are able to see it using the output devices. Thank you very much, students. So now we can still move on to look at the details we have been now discussing. What are input devices? The word input, students, I remember I've been talking to you in the other tutorials to say the word input means that machines. So input devices, what we are saying is that input devices are used to enter data into the computer system. So that's the definition. Input devices are used to enter data into the computer system. Then some examples of input devices. So we enter data into the computer using the keyboard. We enter data into the computer using the mouse. We enter data into the computer using the touch screen. Like those pictures I was showing you there. We enter data into the computer using the microphone. we enter data using the scanner, we enter data using the digital camera, we enter data using also the cell phone, of which I have not showed you. A cell phone can be used to enter data into the computer. That is maybe by images, which is a photograph, or let's say maybe we have got MP3, let's say music on the phone, or maybe you have got a video on the phone, or maybe you have recorded using a phone. So you want to have all the data on the phone to be on the computer. So we can use a cell phone to enter data on the computer. A webcam is a camera which is used for you capture yourself. It works like a digital camera. Then we can also use a video camera to enter data into the computer. So now, what we are saying is that as students, you need to understand what are these input devices. These are used to enter data into the computer system. So you should also understand the examples, which are keyboard, mouse, touch screen, microphone, scanner, digital camera, cell phone, webcam, and video camera. All these components of the computer are called input devices because they are used to enter data into the computer. Thank you very much. So we look at the CPU, which is called the processing device. So now in this case, we need to say this is the CPU, which is called the central processing unit. The central processing unit, okay, the processor, let's say, sorry for that. We are saying the processor, okay. The other name for the word the central processing unit or the CPU, it is called the processor. So please, students, you need to understand this one. The processor, also known as the central processing unit, CPU, is the main or is the brain, okay, is the brain of the computer. So what we are saying is that this CPU is the brain of the computer, and also this CPU as the name, the other name is what? Processor, okay. The processor, also known as the central processing unit, okay, meaning this is the C, which is that one, this is the, okay, P, which is that one, this is U, which is this one. So central processing unit, CPU, is the brain of the computer. It is responsible for performing operations on input to produce output in a systematic manner. So what we are saying is that when you enter data into the computer, which we call what? Input. So for that data to be seen by the user, it has to be processed by the system, the processor or the central processing unit. Okay, students, do you understand on that one? It is responsible for performing operations on input to produce output in a systematic manner. So what we are saying is that you enter data into the computer, it is processed. What processes? It is the CPU. Thank you very much. Okay, let's look at our work again. What we are saying is that the processor is responsible for overall control of all the components of the computer. So it is the CPU which controls all the components of the computer. When we say components, it means parts of the computer. So the CPU controls all the parts of the computer. Thank you very much. So now we can proceed to look at the other component, which is called, or the devices which are called output devices. These are machines. So now how do we define this one? What we are saying is that, how do we explain this one? Output devices such as printers. We know a printer. Speakers, those I mentioned about the pictures, monitors, and data projectors are used to convey information to the user. So we are able to see the work we have done on the computer using the output devices. We'll be able to see our work on the hard copy using a printer. We'll be able to hear to sound. For example, like you're able to hear my voice here, you are using the speakers. You are able to see the work on the monitor, the one where I'm circling like this, because it is being displayed. Okay, and also we may know the projector. It's a nice component of the computer also, which makes either the lecturer or the teacher to deliver a lesson effectively. So what we are saying is that a printer produces text and graphics. Okay, so what we are trying to say is that if you look at our diagram here for the 4-arrowed shape, so in this case what we are saying is that when you are using a printer or when you want to print out work, the printer will only print text and also what? Graphics. The printer will not print audio. The printer will not print video. So that's it about the printer. Thank you very much. So we look at our work there again. Okay, by selecting here. Let me get my pen face again first. So what we are saying is that output device, no, we are looking at it. A printer produces text and graphics on a physical media, such as what? Media. Or this paper, sorry. Now, a monitor displays text or graphics and videos on the screen. Thank you very much. So what we are saying is that, so if you look at the printer there, like this is the word printer. Okay. Now, a printer produces something what we call what? Hard copy. We are able to touch and see. Okay, students, you understand this one? What we are saying is that a printer produces hard copy. The monitor produces soft copy. Because we are able to see, but we are not able to touch. So, what we are saying is that the monitor displays soft copy like that. That's nice. Okay. The printer produces hard copy. We are able to touch and see. The monitor produces soft copy. We are not able to touch, but we are able to see. So that's the work here. A monitor displays text, graphics, and video on the screen. So a printer produces text and graphics, which is hard copy, on a physical media. Physical media means that we are able to see and touch, such as paper. A monitor displays. To display means to show. The monitor shows text, graphics, and video on the screen. So a video is a soft copy, and also these text on the screen are soft copies, unless when they are printed out. Then speakers allow us, or speakers allow you to listen to music. So this is an output device because we are able to listen to music. Or this time we are able to listen to my voice. We are using the speakers as output device. Voice of any of other audio, for example, like my voice here. A data projector displays the text, graphics, video on the monitor or on a larger screen for an audience to see clearly. Like what I said, audience means that maybe let's say students or people in the classroom, we are using a projector for them to see what we are explaining. Thank you very much. So we can proceed to look at our work in this way. What we are saying is that many teachers use data projectors. For example, like Dr. Murimbi, the one talking to you. I usually use a projector in my class so that learners can see the presentation clearly. Like I'm explaining here, we are using a projector for you to understand well. Or maybe if you are at home, but you may be seeing a data projector. So now the most commonly used output devices. Now, what are the most common used output devices are? We normally use a monitor. A computer without a monitor, you cannot see what we are doing. We use printers and also we use the speakers. So these are the most used output devices. Thank you, students. So let's proceed again. We look at something else. We are going to look at what we call storage media. When we say storage media, we are looking at the parts we say. This is storage media. Store means to keep. Okay. So after you have worked on your work on the computer there, you need to keep your work. So that's what we call storage devices. Devices, these are machines where we keep this work. Thank you very much. So let's go on to look at what are these storage medias. Storage devices keep data. They keep data. They also keep instructions and also keep information. So what we are saying is that they keep, in this case what we are saying is that when we look at data, it is text. Okay, the one we discussed there. Text, then we have video, okay, we have video, we have audio, okay, then we have images, okay. Now when we say instructions, these are programs, okay. An instruction is a program, or in this case what we are saying is software. Okay, so a software is called an instruction because it tells what a computer what to do. Okay, thank you very much. Then information, this comes again to this. Thank you very much. We now understand, children or students. We are looking at these storage devices. So after we have typed the work or we have done the work on the computer, what it is that it is stored on the computer, okay, or outside the computer. Now what do we keep? We keep data, instructions, and information. So what we are saying is that data means the four types we discussed. Instructions, these are either a program. The other word for program is what? Software. A software gives instruction to the computer on what to be done. Then we have information. Information, we are saying it goes back to text there. Thank you very much. So now listen. Look at the picture here. This is the picture of a portable hard drive. And hard drive, like what I showed you in the pictures there. So this one, portable, means that it is an external storage media. Or, please, you need to understand this one, children or students. This is what we call secondary storage media. Secondary storage media. Okay, that is the word media. Secondary storage media. Secondary means that this is a storage media which is found outside the computer. Okay, primary storage media are components of the computer which are found inside the computer. Thank you very much. So now we look at the other part, which says, this part says, let me just get my pen. Okay, an internal hard drive or a portable hard disk. Okay, so in this case what to do is that we can first control this work here like that. Okay, so let me move a bit like that there, like that. Okay, storage devices. I was just trying to control one or two things there because it did not match well. So what we are saying is that an internal hard disk or portable hard disk, okay, is capable of storing large quantities of instructions. Now what we are saying is that an internal hard disk means that the hard drive which is found inside the computer, okay, it is called the internal, inside. So an internal hard disk or a portable means it is found outside the computer. Hard drive which is found outside, you carry it in your hands, then whenever you go you can connect it to the computer. Okay, so a portable hard drive, hard disk, is capable of storing large quantities of data. What I said is that data, these are text, videos, sounds, and images. Instructions, these are programs or software, and information goes back to data. Okay, so what we are saying is that the hard drive and the internal hard drive and the external hard drive, these store large quantities of data, instructions, and the information. So now a USB flash drive, okay, flash disk, the common known as flash disk, is a small portable. Okay, what we'll do is that we can look at the picture here. We have a nice picture there. Okay, so we say a USB, that is a USB flash drive or flash disk, is a small portable. It is small portable. Portable means that you are able to carry, okay, whenever you can go, whether you are going to the market, you are going to school, you are going what. So portable means that you are able to carry. A USB flash drive is a small portable storage media that is widely used because it can be easily transported. So we can easily carry the flash disk. This is an example of a flash. Not this one, sorry. This is not a flash disk. This is a communication device. Flash disk, we saw it in the pictures which I showed you. Okay, thank you very much. So now let's move on the other part here. What we are saying is that we are going to look at the part which says communication devices. Okay, communication devices. In this case, what we are saying is that a communication device is used to send. Okay, like I mentioned, to send, or the other word for sending is to transmit and receive data, instructions, and the information. So now we need to understand these words very much, children. Data, we now understand the 4 types of data. Instructions, these are programs or softwares. Okay, then information, it goes back to data there. When data is processed, it comes into information. So what we are saying is that a communication device is used to send. So we are able to see this device here. This is what we call a wireless modem. Okay, sorry I made a mistake in the first place to mention that flash disk, but a flash disk also looks like this. So what we are saying is that it helps us to send. So we have the 2 words there. Okay, we have the word what? Send, and also the word receive. Okay, simple like that. And also the word receive. So it helps us to send and receive. That is data, instructions, and the information. Okay, so now what we are saying is that a modem is an example of a communication device. So this is an example here. Communication takes place over telephone lines. So how do we communicate? We either use telephone lines, cellular radio. Okay, what we are saying is that cell phones or mobile phones, networks, satellite, and other transmission medias. Okay, satellite and other transmission medias. So let me do this. I pick my pen again, students, so that I write my work. Okay, now satellite and cellular radio networks are wireless communications. So what we are saying is that there's what we call telephone lines. When we say telephone lines, this is where a phone is connected using lines. For example, this is a telephone line. This is a telephone line. This is a telephone line. This is a telephony line. Okay, so you may send and receive through the telephony line. Now when we say radio, radio networks, so it uses what we call the satellite. So what we are going to do is that, okay, we'll draw something very fast, something very fast like that. A satellite looks like that. It is found in the sky. I don't know if it's in the sky. Okay, so that is the satellite. Then it sends the waves. These are what we call radio waves to Earth. This is Earth. Okay, so a person may be here. This is a person with a phone. So this person will be able to communicate to this one here with a phone. So you call here, the waves, the radio waves will go in space. Now this space is what we call wireless, because this one uses lines, this one does not use lines. It just uses the radio waves for you to communicate. So you call from here, then it goes to the satellite then sends to the person you are sending, you are calling. So satellite and cellular radios networks are wireless communications. Thank you, students. So we look at the other part which says the advantages and disadvantages of computers. Why are computers so good to use or to work with? Okay, why are computers bad? Okay, why are computers good to work with? Why are computers bad to work with? Okay, that is the advantages and disadvantages of computers. Thank you very much. So now what we do is that, let me just scroll the page a bit like that. So I'll pick up my ball pen or my pen so that I can write 1, 2 things. So the first thing I'm going to look at is the advantages of computers. So now the advantage is that computers are the speed is good. So the use of computers increases efficiency and the productivity. So the advantages or the advantage of the computer is that the speed is very good. It does not get tired. It doesn't get tired. Okay. Reliability. Reliability means that it is not like a person who says that I'm tired. No, a computer does not say I'm tired. So it is reliable. Just like people say God is reliable. So a computer is reliable. Modern computers have low failure rates. So the computer will not tell you to say I'm tired, I want to rest. No. So it's reliable. Consistency means that you know, a person when he, for example, like you students, when you are coming to school, today you come, tomorrow you come, the other day you come, the other day you say no, I'm tired. You don't come to school. That is what we call consistency. There is no consistency. A computer, if to say today you use it, after maybe some hours you switch it off, then you switch it on again, it will still start and do the same operations which are so good. So it is consistent. It doesn't say no, now I'm resting, or today I'm tired, I don't want to work, like that. No. So it is consistent. So what we are saying is that computers always do what they are programmed to do. So that is consistency. Then the other part we are going to look at accuracy. Accuracy means that it gives you the exact information you want. Computers are extremely precise. Precise means that exactly. So what you command the computer to do, it is what you are going to see. Then the other one says communications. Computers in a network can share stored data. So what we are saying is that the data you have kept on your computer can be shared to other people. So the advantage of a computer is that you can have work on your computer, maybe songs or movies. You can be able to communicate to other people. You can also communicate information to other people. You can also communicate programs, these are softwares, to other people. And also device and processing power. So that's the advantage of a computer. Okay? Let's scroll the page, students, again. We look at the other advantages of a computer. Then in this case, what we are saying is that the other advantage is that we are saying internet access allows people, okay, so we say, and internet access allows for global communication. So now, because there's internet access, my computer can be connected to other computers which are in America, in UK, in South Africa, Botswana, all over the world. So when a computer is connected to the internet, it will access information. So you have a lot of information on your computer because it is connected to the internet. Then the other advantage is that multiple usage. Computers can be used for word processing. So what we are saying is that there are so many programs which are used on the computer. For example, like word processing, where you type letters, text, like that. You can use a computer for internet browsing. You can use a computer for programming. You can use a computer for usage, or is it media usage? Our friends who are in the media, for example, at the studios, those are media disciplines. You can use a computer for graphic intensive games. For example, like you are playing games on the computer. You can use a computer to send an email. You can use a computer only for faxing and so many other things. So that's the advantage of a computer. It is used for so many other things. Then the advantage of the computer also is that the performance of dangerous tasks. Okay, there are so many other things which human beings can fail to do. So now a computer does not fail, it manages. For example, computers can perform tasks that are dangerous or impossible for humans. Something which is impossible for a human being. In this case, what we are saying is that a computer will not fail. A computer will not fail. Computers can perform tasks that are dangerous or impossible for humans. Okay, such as space exploration. What we are saying is that space exploration means, for example, like people going with a rocket to the sky, to the space, to go and see if there's another life there. Like that is what we call space exploration. And also diffusing bombs. For example, you are entering the house or the classroom. You just have to say that there's a bomb under the desk. So a computer can be used to diffuse. To diffuse means that to remove the power of that bomb to destroy it or to kill people. Thank you very much, students. So that is about the advantages of a computer. Now we are going to look at the disadvantages of computers. These are, the first one is, let me just get my pen there for highlighting. So the first one is health risks. So now what we are saying is that it has got a problem, a computer has a problem in terms of your health. Prolonged or improper use leads to injuries or disorders of the hands. So that's what I'm saying. Prolonged or improper use leads to injuries or disorders of hands, wrists, elbow, okay, eyes, neck, and the back. So if you don't use the computer in a good manner, you are going to have health problems and also injuries, which we call as the disorders. This, for example, like in your hands will be paining. If you use it for too long, your hands will be paining. Also the wrist is where you wear your watch from. Okay, also they will pain. The elbow, you may not be able to stretch your elbow nicely, it will be paining. Your eyes, you may feel like your eyes are itching, they will pain. Your neck may be stiff, you may not be bending nicely like that. Then you have also a backache because you have overused the computer. Then violation of privacy. Okay, if personal and confidential information is not protected properly, it can lead to privacy violation and identity theft. What we are saying is that some people like seeing what other people do on the computer. What we mean is that let's say I've kept data on my computer, and then maybe you come and then you start checking my computer, and then you start checking for things which I've kept. That's what we call violation of privacy. So especially when you are on the internet, when your computer is accessing internet, you may be able to, maybe people may come to, or people may get your details of your date of birth, and also maybe bank account for our parents who are working. So that is what we call violation of privacy. Then the other disadvantage of a computer is that impact on labor force. Here what we are saying is that when computers were made, most of the people lost their jobs. So what we are saying is that the computer has made some people to lose their jobs, because most of the jobs which were done by people, the computer can now be able to do. We'll take an example of, let's say, in a company, maybe if they have 100 workers, and these people used to write maybe letters. And now it happens that this company buys 100 computers. What will happen? All the people who are writing letters can be asked to stop work. So that's what we call impact on labor force. The computer has made many people to stop working, because most of the jobs which the people were doing, the computer now can do. So this means the skills of many workers have been replaced by computers. That's in short. The other part we are saying, although the computer industry has created thousands of new jobs, okay, what they are saying is that computers have created so many jobs to so many people. Now, workers have to ensure that they are always up to date, since computers technology is continually working. So in this point, what we are trying to say is that this computer has helped so many people to have jobs. Now, when you have those jobs, you need to make sure that every day you are reading, you are consulting. Okay, let me first just go back a bit like this. Sorry, I move a bit like this. Okay, impact on labor force. Okay, here, thank you very much. So we move like this, you students. Okay, so what we are saying, although computer industries has created thousands of new jobs, the workers have to ensure that they are always up to date, since computer technology is continually evolving. Now what we are saying is that there are always new things in the computer industry. So if you remain behind, then the world will take over you. For example, like there are those people who don't know how to repair old computers, those people who don't know how to operate on old computers. This time we have modern computers. So for those people to know how these modern computers are working, they're supposed to be having maybe short courses, and maybe consulting, and maybe buying books, and maybe on the internet, find out on what is new in technology. So that's what they mean on this one, students. Okay. Then the other part is that the impact on the environment. So now what we are saying is that the computers also have a bad impact on the environment. We are looking at disadvantages of a computer. The computer, when for example, like here in Africa, this is where whites are throwing all their their damaged computers. Okay, so what we are saying is that the computer manufacturing process is depleting resources, and computers waste is polluting the environment. So every day they are making computers. So by making these computers, they need what we call resources, or things which are used for making the computer. So where they are being taken from, those things are getting finished. So in the near future, we may say there will be no computers because we don't have where to get the material to use or to make the computers. And then where these computers are thrown, they pollute the environment. Pollution, I remember you did this one when you are doing your early grades. Pollution means that damaging your environment by using bad chemicals. So when a computer is thrown on the environment, it will have a very bad impact by maybe bringing poison. You know, computers are so dangerous here. Yes. Thank you very much. So now we look at the other disadvantage of a computer or computers is computer addiction. Computer addiction means that you feel sweet to be on the computer. If somebody asks you to leave the computer, you feel like to say somebody is jealous. So that's what we call addiction. Addiction means that you do something like you love it like that. No one can stop you to do it. So that's what we call addiction. Some users may become obsessed with the computer and the internet. So when you use it too much, the computer may make you to be so addictive to the computer. Okay. Thank you very much. Then let's move on to look at the other part. It says
1 a.m.
Okay, sorry for that time reminder. Okay. We look at the other part which says internet security risks. The disadvantage of a computer is that computer viruses, worms, spyware, hardware, and spam can infect a system. So internet security risks are that a computer virus can harm your computer. They are what we call worms. These are also viruses. They can harm your computer. There's what we call spyware. This can harm your computer. There's what we call hardware. This can harm your computer. And also we have what we call spam. This can harm your computer. To harm is to destroy. Or the computer will stop functioning the way it's supposed to work. Or maybe it may stop for good. Okay. So as far as we appreciate that the computer is good, it is also bad in a way that sometimes when a virus has come to your computer, you fail to work. So now what we are saying is that we are going to end on where we are saying appreciating. Okay, we are going to end on this one next time as we meet students. We look at appreciating various types of storage medias. Thank you very much for listening to my tutorial or watching this tutorial. Please make a date to watch the other tutorial which is on appreciating various types of media.